What's going on, people? Welcome to my NFL team draft grades. If you want to see my first round grades, I posted a day or two ago. Look, I am by no means an expert, don't claim to be, but I've done a pretty decent amount of research on all these prospects for the past few months leading up to this, and these are just my personal thoughts, opinions. Be fun to see what happens a year from now with these grades. If you all agree with these takes, feel free to comment. If you don't, feel free to comment. Very curious to hear y'all's thoughts, y'all's team grades. But let's dive right into it. We're going to do a tier list. And let's just start off with the A's right here. Arizona Cardinals. First team up, Jeremiah Love at 3. I don't love this pick, guys. I get it. Jeremiah Love's probably going to be an all-pro running back. He's one of the best running back prospects we've seen in the last 10 years. He's a Bijan, he's a Saquon, he's a CMC, he's a Lenny. He's one of these top-tier guys. But when you look at the history of these teams that draft these guys, yes, these running backs put up dynamite numbers, but the rosters are never near competitive, and the team records reflect that. And so, on one hand, it's like, okay, Arizona, we're going to put butts in the seats. We're going to sell a ton of Jeremiah Love jerseys. The guy's going to be a fantasy just monster. And that's all fun and games, right? But, at the end of the day, the goal in my mind is winning a Super Bowl, and this is not a move that puts Arizona as contenders. Yeah, they're going to have a super fun, super electric, dynamic offense with Jeremiah Love. But, I don't see a long-term play with this. If I had to bet on this, I'll bet Love balls the hell out in Arizona. But then I'd bet by the time his rookie year contract's coming up, he's out of there. Or they'll trade him, or he'll sign with a free agency, like a CMC going to San Fran, like a Saquon going to Philly. That's just the reality of how it works with these running backs. And, they're going to waste all their good tread on their tires with their first team. But that's just the reality. And you know what? I do respect the regime a little bit, putting him as the pick. You got to get the fan base excited. But it's just not a winning pick in my mind. But then Chase Batonis, second round, I like that pick a lot. He was one of the top 3 guards in this draft. You really can't go wrong there. Carson Beck, round 3, first pick in the third round. Don't like that pick at all either. This was a super weak quarterback class. This guy's a statue. He's not a really good athlete. He's got decent accuracy, not a super strong arm either. I see him as a career backup. I don't love that pick. Caleb Proctor, they had ranked outside the top 30, top 4 in a lot of boards. And then, guys, a lot of these picks, 5th, 6th, 7th round, I'm not going to dive too deep into these. I didn't do a ton of homework on these guys, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. But considering all of that, I'm really going to headline the first picks. They're obviously the most important, but the following few, Jeremiah Love, I don't love it. Chase, I like a lot. Carson Beck, Caleb Proctor, Mia. I would probably put Arizona, and I think they just got too cute with it. And here's the tiers, by the way, too. Go, stuck to the board, not mad, not happy. Too cute with it, and shout out 12-year-old Madden player. But, yeah, I think it's just too cute with it. I think they overthought it. I would have personally gone Arvell Reese at 3 if it was my choice. But, hey, I'm not a GM. So, all right, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta didn't have a lot to work with. They weren't picking until the second round, but they got AJ's brother, Avion, who I like a lot. Really good ball skills, really just talented, athletic cornerback. He's a little bit smaller, though, so he might be best off in the slot, but super high floor. I think this guy's probably going to be a really good NFL pro-ready player. Zachariah Branch, too, kind of like an Avion throw on the offensive side. Smaller guy, relies on his speed, athleticism, shifty. I think he's a good player, man. I think Zachariah Branch is a good player. He fits a team need, too. And then Kendall Daniels, Ontario Thompson. Harold Perkins Jr. in the 6th round. That's a hell of a value. A month or two ago, he was slotted as a potential day 2 guy. He did fall, though, whether it be injuries or whoever have it. I just remember his name being high on there. But, again, Atlanta, like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into these 2 picks. I like their first 2 picks. And it's really hard to evaluate a team when they don't even have a pick in the top 32. I'll go not mad, not happy. I think they stuck to the board. They picked the right players. They filled some positions of need. So I can't really fault them too much for that. All right, Baltimore. 14, they got Ola Ione. Love this pick. Fits a major position of need. Not a sexy pick. It's very reminiscent to me, though, of when Dallas got Tyler Booker last year. People don't really like picking guards this early, but guards are slowly kind of becoming like a running back pick, to where they're super easy to translate. And, I wouldn't doubt it if Ione is a Pro Bowler or damn near, Pro Bowl level player his rookie year. He fits the scheme. He fits what they need. He fits what they want to do in Baltimore. And Baltimore is Baltimore at their best when the offensive line's humming, when Derrick Henry is running the football down your throat, and when Lamar Jackson could also feed off that offensive line. So I love that pick there. Zion Young, this was about where he was projected to go. This guy was a stud at Mizzou. Not the most athletic guy, but really productive at Mizzou last year. Should definitely step in and help out that pass rush with Trey Hendrickson now in there. I think that's a fine pick there. I think that's kind of just sticking to your board. Jacoby Lane, Elijah Surratt. I like these two picks. These are two bigger receivers. They can complement Zay Flowers really well. They're outside boundary receivers, good blocking receivers. Again, I think they fit the scheme well. And then Chandler Rivers in the 5th round. This guy, smaller cornerback, but a lot of scouts had a day 2 grade on this guy. So I think you got a good value there. And all in all, again, these other picks, but I like what Baltimore did. They didn't get too cute with it. And that's what Eric DeCosta does, their GM. He typically sticks to the board. He's an Ozzie Newsome hair apprentice. So I like what Baltimore did, man. I think it's just the perfect stuck to the board, BPA, fill the positions of need. Don't get too cute with the draft. In my mind, the teams that lose the drafts are the teams that think their scouting department is just head and shoulders better than the rest of the league. Baltimore has had a good franchise now for years and years and years because they stick to the board. It's what Ozzie Newsome did. It's what Eric DeCosta does now, and that's why these teams have such competitive rosters year in and year out. I love what they did. Not the GOAT tier, but stuck to the board. Really good draft. I like it for Baltimore there. All right, next team up, Buffalo Bills. Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane's a joke, man. I don't know what intel this guy's got on the Buffalo ownership group, but he's awful. Hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler besides James Cook since the Josh Allen era. I don't even know why he's still in office. But T.J. Parker, I like the pick. Fits position in need. This guy was supposed to be top 10 ish going into last season. Everyone on Clemson, though, had weird shit going around. But I like that pick there. Fills a position in need, right around his range. Davison, I'm going to botch the hell out of this name. Ogunbio son. Another guy, Brandon Beane loves drafting cornerbacks. Took Maxwell Harrison a few years ago. We all remember the Kaiir Elam experiment. But, you're getting this guy at the end of the 2nd round. Don't hate the pick. That's about where he was supposed to go. And Skylar Bell, this guy was super productive at UConn last year. He was facing some patsy competition, obviously. But I like that pick. They need more depth at receiver. DJ Moore can't hold down that room by himself. Keon Coleman is ass. They actually said today they don't want to trade him. I don't like Keon Coleman, though. And then Jalen Kilgore right here. I saw him going in round 3 in a lot of mock drafts. I think that's pretty good value here. All in all, I don't hate what Buffalo did here at all. I don't think it's like an A minus A. It's stuck to the board tier. I think not mad, not happy. I think it's your run-of-the-mill, just decent draft. So we'll put them right there in the middle tier. All right. Next up, Carolina. Carolina, a lot of people are giving these guys an A+ on their draft. I think they did a really good job in this draft, obviously. My only thing is, with Monroe Freeling, I like Monroe Freeling. I think he's a great prospect, super talented, one of the best tackles in this entire draft. But they have a Okonkwo. They have Taylor Moton, and they also signed Rasheed Walker. I know Okonkwo's hurt, but I would figure you signed Rasheed Walker, who is one of the top tackles in the market, to fill in for Okonkwo if he's hurt. So Monroe's not a guy that you can really stick at guard, so he might be just a depth piece for right now. But they wanted to address the offensive line. This team was at their best last year when they run the football down your throat. So I don't hate the pick with Monroe there. I don't love it, though, either. Lee Hunter, I think you got a really good value there in the second half of the 2nd round. This team's going all in on that front 7, and Lee Hunter is going to help them shut down that run game. This guy's a run-stuffing mauler. I don't know if he'll ever develop as a pass rusher, but it's a pretty good value there. And then Chris Brazell, the 2nd, round 3, another pretty good value. They got him right before that kind of run on receivers went. Hem, Coker, Ted. I like that receiver trio now. They got young, intriguing upside. I don't hate it at all. And then Sam Hetch in round 5. I saw this guy going in round 2 in a ton of mock drafts, and he kind of does what they want to do and fill the offensive line. This is probably, from what I've seen, one of the best value picks in the entire draft. So all in all, I really like what they did. I don't think it's GOAT tier in my mind, but I think they stuck to the board. They took talented players and got good value at good spots. I can't be mad about it at all. I like what the new guy in Carolina is doing here a whole lot. I do. Last year they didn't have last year they got Tet. This year he's sticking to the board. He's not getting too cute with it, which I respect. So, all right, Chicago Bears. I think Dylan Thielman here was a fire home run pick. You lost Kevin Byard. You lost Jaquan Brisker. You lost Nahshon Wright, your turnover machine last year. You obviously had to replenish the secondary here for Chicago. It was probably their biggest need. So I love that pick. That was a really good value. I mean, a lot of mocks leading up to this draft, I would see Thielman going, Dallas at 12, middle of the first round, Minnesota at 18. So I think they got a really nice value with their first round pick there in Thielman. Logan Jones, center. Kind of where he's projected to go, not too sexy of a pick. They lost Dahlman. I know they got Bradbury in there at center now, though. Another depth piece. You can't be too mad about it. Ben Johnson wants to run the football, and it really thrives from that offensive line initially. Sam Roosh, again, this was about his range. Big tight end. They have Loveland. They have Kmet. But this is Ben Johnson wants to invest in the tight end position, and we're going to get into this, but so many of these teams are drafting so many tight ends. What Sean McVay has done with his 3 tight end sets last year, you saw what it did to Devontae Adams. I mean, he had, 14 touchdowns with 700 yards. It opens up the offense so much, and I think the league's kind of trending to where more and more of these tight end sets, especially 3 jumbo tight end sets, are going to get used more and more often. Xavier Thomas, another depth piece. You lost. Keenan Allen's gone. DJ Moore's gone. So I like the Bears draft. I don't think it's like a home run out of this park. Decent draft, though. I think just not mad, not happy about it. You could maybe push it up to the board. I really like the Thielman pick a lot, but I'll put it right here in the middle tier for right now. All right, Cincinnati Bengals didn't have the first-round pick, obviously. They got Sexy Dexy from the Giants. Cassius Howe with the first pick. This guy, man, it's kind of hard to like this pick for the Bengals since they took Shamar Stewart out of A&M in the first round last year. Cassius Howe, though, super productive at Texas A&M. Maybe the best first step in this class among these edge rushers. Super just blazing speed. This guy is obviously super undersized, though, and he's got really tiny arms, kind of like Ruben Bain, but this guy's I think he's more of a specialist than Ruben Bain, obviously. I don't hate the pick. I don't love it, though. It's a fine pick. I think Cassius Howe really might end up being just like a pass rushing specialist, like a D4 at the next level. But, hey, if he's D4 and he can go in on third downs, pass rushing opportunities, and he could generate 8 to 10 sacks a season, that's going to be a good pick. It's also hard to trust Duke Tobin in the Bengals GM. He's maybe the worst GM in football. Tacario Davis, round 3. Slight reach, big cornerback. He's got good ball skills. Connor Lew is a good pick. This was a guy kind of like I saw him in that Sam Hetch range in a lot of mocks going, around that day 2 range, maybe late second, early third. So I can't be too mad about this pick. More depth at receiver, Brian Parker. This draft is fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Again, I think this one for me is right in the middle. Not happy, not mad. All right, Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is getting an A+ on a lot. I've seen a lot of people say that this is the best draft in all of football. Spencer Fano at 9. I like it a lot. Obviously, this team lost a lot of bodies in free agency on the offensive line. They also brought in a lot of guys, though. But I like it. Like Cleveland, before Andrew Berry got there, this team was built on the identity of the offensive line. They said they were going to take this guy at 6, so they pick up that 3 and 5 from Kansas City, and you still get your guy at 9. So I think that's a fine pick right there. KC Conception, I don't know, man. This guy's got blazing speed, but he just screams bust to me in Cleveland. I don't know why. He's not the best route runner in the world. I don't know if Shedur's going to be throwing the football, Deshaun Watson starting, or whoever at quarterback next year. And then same thing with Denzel Boston. These two actually complement each other super well. And these 3 picks to me, they feel like picks to where Cleveland is saying, okay, we'll throw out Shedeur, Deshaun, or whoever, but they more feel like picks to where that Cleveland in their mind is looking to next year and saying, okay, whatever stud quarterback we get in a loaded QB class next year, these 3 guys are going to be impact players that will help the quarterback we get next year. And I do really like that, and I really do respect that a lot. And I think all 3 of them are pretty good picks because they obviously, Jerry Jeudy ain't holding this thing down by himself. Even though I don't love the KC pick, it's decent value. And then EMW at the end of round 2, man. This guy was supposed to go in round 1 in most mocks I saw. They had him and Thieneman kind of neck and neck. This guy's kind of opposite of Dylan Thieneman. This guy's a crazy athlete. He's a little bit raw, though. But, I mean, if this guy hits, he's going to be a stud, and I think that's just really good value to get him right there. Taylon Green, round 6. I mean, may as well take the flyer in the 6th round. Who cares at that point? Austin Barber out of Florida. Might be a slight reach. This guy's a giant, though. Just addresses more depth. Same thing with Brailsford right here. Cleveland, though, all in all, really good draft. Do I put it in GOAT or do I put it in stuck to the board? I think we'll put it to stick to the board. I don't think it's GOAT. You know what? We'll put it in GOAT. It's a really good draft. And I honestly don't like Andrew Berry. I don't think he's a good general manager. He made the worst move in football a few years ago, the Deshaun Watson thing. But this guy's draft last year was nails. I mean, it was one of the best we've seen in recent memory. So I'll trust him here. I think it's a really good draft. And I think they're building for the QB for next year. Like I said, right? Picked up extra 3 in the 5. So we'll put it in that top tier for right now. We'll see how this looks a year later. But, yeah. All right, my Dallas Cowboys up next. The fact they were able to get Caleb Downs at 11, I don't really care that they gave him the 2 5s. This is maybe my favorite pick in the entire draft. Might be slight biasm because I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. But, I mean, this guy is going to fill the exact need they need. Christian Parker's defense coming over from Philly. He needs that nickel guy. He needs his Cooper DeJean, and he gets that and more. Caleb Downs is a better football player than Cooper DeJean. Whether you want to play him in the slot, you want to play him up at safety, you want to play him down the linebacker spot. I mean, this guy is going to be a chess piece for Parker in this Dallas defense. And I think after Quinnen, he might be the best player on this defense and maybe the most impactful rookie out of all these rookies. Maybe besides like Mendoza, obviously, in year 1. I think this guy is going to do wonders for this Dallas defense. And then Malachi Lawrence at pick 23. This guy rose up draft boards later in this draft process. I don't love this pick. I don't hate it. It does kind of give off slight Taco Charlton vibes a little bit. But, I mean, this guy's a crazy athlete. He had a 9.94 relative athletic score out of 10. He's got crazy speed, crazy burst, but, I mean, he went against Patsies at UCF. So it kind of feels like the Ezeraku pick last year. And Ezeraku had a decent rookie season. So, I mean, but Malachi's a first-round pick, so you'd hope he could do a little bit more than Ezeraku. But, again, this guy was a late first-round pick. They have Gary there now. They have Ezeraku. So this guy's not going to be starting day one. He could be a depth piece. He could be a rotational pass rusher. But he's got a lot of upside. And it's another Lawrence for Dallas. So they go from DeMarcus Ware to Marcus Lawrence, Malachi Lawrence. Can't hate it one bit. And then we got Jay-Sean Barham out of Michigan. I like this pick a lot. This guy is a poor man's Arvell Reese. Whether you want to play him at off-ball linebacker, really good in the run game, whether you want him to rush the passer, he's kind of that Swiss linebacker edge hybrid that you could really just put anywhere. And I think Dallas, they really needed that. So I like that pick a lot too. Also, we don't see it here, but they got D. Menners from San Fran for a 5th-round pick, who's probably going to come in and start right alongside DeMarion Overshown. And then these last few picks, Devin Moore, LT Overton, Drew Shelton, they're nice depth pieces. Nothing too crazy to write home about this. But I really like what Dallas did here. I'm going to put them in the stuck to the board tier. I think the Downs pick alone almost puts him there for me because he addresses such a major area of need, and he's such a good value there. So we're going to throw Dallas there in tier 2. All right, Denver. It's hard to really evaluate this draft for Denver. They didn't pick till the 3rd round, for crying out loud. But, I mean, Tyler Onadiam, again, probably botched the name. They lost JFM in free agency. This team doesn't have a ton of holes, especially after the Jalen Waddle trade. So, I mean, might be a little early to hear this guy's name called. I don't really hate the pick. I trust Sean Payton in Co to develop this guy. Jonah Coleman, this is a decent value for Jonah Coleman. A lot of people had this guy really. Some people had him as the second best back in the draft outside Jadarian Price at one point a month or two ago. He obviously fell. When I watched the tape on this guy, though, I mean, he's not an explosive back at all. He's one of those kind of bowling ball prototypes. And when I watched the film on him, I didn't really even see that like crazy, vicious, like run the football down your throat, run over you type of just violence from him. But again, they got him in the 4th round, so I can't be too mad about it. And then the rest of these guys are day 3 picks. So, I mean, not a lot to write home about Denver's draft. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm not happy. I'm not mad. I'm not going to put them any lower because they had, like I said, they picked in the 3rd round. So I see a lot of these teams that picked late. These analysts are wanting to put like a C grade on them. I don't really know how I can do that when you didn't pick till the 3rd round. So we're going to put them right there in the middle tier. All right, Detroit Lions. Blake Miller at 17. I thought they were going with Monroe Freeling. They obviously didn't. They got Blake Miller. This was a Dan Campbell pick from what I've heard. This guy fits the culture to a T. And Decker's gone now. So this guy will step in, start day one, and he'll help them do what they want to do, which is run the football down your throat, play physical, nasty, violent, run-first football, what you got to do with Jared Goff. So I like that pick a lot. Derek Moore here in round 2. This was about where he was supposed to go, but I like this pick a lot too. We see guys next to Aiden Hutchinson, whether it be Muhammad from last year, James Houston a few years ago, get 8, 9, 10 sacks because Aiden Hutchinson's that good. So I really like addressing Derek Moore here. Give Aiden Hutchinson some help on the other side of the football. And then Keith Abney, actually, hell of a value. 75th overall rank according to ESPN. Again, I saw this guy go in the second round in a lot of mocks. Fills a position of need for them too. I really like that pick. Jimmy Rolder looks like a slight reach here. Honestly, didn't do a ton of film on Jimmy Rolder. So, but all in all, Miller, Moore, Keith Abney, I like a lot what the Lions did. I don't know if it gets to this second tier for me. We'll just put it in not happy, not mad with it. All right, Green Bay Packers. Brandon Cisse here. Again, this is another team they didn't pick till late round 2, so I can't really judge this one too hard. But Brandon Cisse at the end of round 2, I like it a lot. And, I mean, Gunskens, probably botched their GM, he likes drafting these cornerbacks in this round. Kevin King a few years ago didn't pan out, but he really likes these, athletic, raw cornerback prospects, and that's what you're getting at Brandon Cisse. And Brandon Cisse was a guy that was going in, early round 1, early round 2, late round 1, a lot of mocks. I think that's a really good value there for him. And then Dennis Sutton, I think right there is a really good value as well. Chris McKellen, again, kind of just fits that front seven, what they need. This team's lost some bodies recently. So, I mean, decent draft for Green Bay. Don't love it, don't hate it. This one's going right in the middle. All right, Houston, Keelan Rutledge traded up to get him in round 1. He fits the perfect area of need. Again, not a sexy pick. This guy's going to step in and be a day 1 starter for him, though. I did like the Caden McDonald pick right here a lot in round 2. They lost Billings, so this guy will probably step in and be that kind of final piece that maybe this defense needs. If you think they need anything, this defense is so stacked, though, so they don't really need a whole lot. Marlon Klein, a little bit of a reach here in the second round. I don't know if I love that pick. This guy is really kind of one of those blocking tight ends, but that was one of my biggest takeaways when I looked at all these teams. Is so many of these teams loaded up on these tight ends. I think we're going to start seeing this happen a lot more. Fabice, actually, I've liked this pick a lot. I think I saw he had 2 pressures on 500 plus passing block snaps this year. Don't hate that pick at all. Depth piece for him right there. Kamari Ramsey, good value here. Top 100 player on a lot of boards. You can see here he's at 98. They got him in the 5th round. I like the Texans draft. I really do. They didn't have a whole lot they needed to do, but I really like it. I think they stuck to their board. I'm going to throw them in the second tier here. I really like what Houston did. All right, Indy, I think they got one of the best values in C.J. Allen here at the later part of round 2. Same thing with A.J. Halsey. A.J. Halsey was a guy that could have gone around early round 2. They got him here in the middle of the 3rd. Jalen Farmer, a good depth piece for him. Not going to start right away probably, but not a ton to write home here for Indy. But for what they had to work with, I like what they did a lot. So we're going to throw the Colts. Honestly, I want to throw them up here. I think the C.J. Allen and Halsey picks are fire picks. I mean, C.J. Allen, I thought it might even go to my Cowboys at pick 20. This guy is going to step in and be a day 1 starter. Kind of reminds me of Nakobe Dean a few years back when people were scared of his physical makeup. Nakobe Dean's turned out to be a really good pro player if he can stay healthy. But C.J. Allen's an even better prospect than Nakobe Dean. So I think they got a real steal with that there. And then their other picks. So I think they belong in tier 2 in my mind. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars. This has probably been the draft that I've seen most people shit on. And I understand it. They took Borkature, botched the name again probably, in round 2, their first pick. I know they have Brevin Strange there. Brent Strange, my bad. But, I mean, this just doesn't feel like what your team really needs. Albert Regis was another reach. Emmanuel Pregnon saved this draft in my mind. He was a guy that could have gone in round 1 that they got in the 3rd round. He might step in and start for them immediately. And then the rest of these guys, man, all of these guys, if you go look at their pre-draft rankings and where Jacksonville took them, they're all reaches, and I think their GM just got a little cute with it, and I think he's trying to outsmart the system. He didn't have a good first year, Gladstone, taking Travis Hunter and trading the picks for him. But, I mean, hell, he got Liam Cohen in there. They're looking competitive. But I think for right now, for me, I think for me, man, it's going in the bottom tier, 12-year-old Madden player. I mean, the guy looks like he's 12, Gladstone. Maybe he's going to prove us all wrong. But this kind of just feels like a general manager in my mind right now that's in over his head and that is just overanalyzing everything and going against the board and going against the chalk and just picking his guys, which we've seen. Look at Bill Belichick when he was drafting New England. When you pick, quote-unquote, your guys, it more times than not turns out wrong. And you look at the good GMs in football, the Howie Schneiders, the Howie Roseman, the John Schneiders, they more times than not just pick BPA, and they go with the general consensus. And that's usually the winning strategy. So I don't like what they did at all. They're coming off a great year, but I think this draft is looking pretty bleak for them. All right, KC, they traded up to get their guy Mansour Lane. They got Peter Woods, R. Mason Thomas, Emmett Johnson, nice depth piece at the running back spot. Garrett Nussmeier with one of the last picks in the draft. I can't hate that at all either. This guy has a lot of talent. He was hurt last year, but Mansour Lane, the thing is, Mansour Lane's probably going to be a stud, right? But when I see Kansas City in recent years go draft the Trent McDuffies and go get Jalen Watsons, and they go get these guys later, McDuffie later, first round, Watson I think was the 7th round pick, but Spags has proven he could develop these DBs better than anyone in the league. I would have personally rather have liked to go with maybe a Sonny Styles here at 6 and then go with a Colton Hood at 29. But I can't be mad about it. I like Peter Woods a lot. The guy's a badass run stuffer. He's one of the best just athletes at the D-tackle spot in this entire draft. Super nimble feet, just really good athlete. I think he has the potential to develop as like a legit Pro Bowl caliber player. And like TJ Parker, this guy was one of those guys going into this past season for college football, was supposed to be a top 10 pick. Didn't live up to the billing, though, but if I were to bet for him to hit anywhere, it would be with Spags out here in KC. And then R. Mason Thomas, kind of like the Cassius Howell type. Super fast, super athletic, crazy first step, really good bend. He's undersized, though. So that could be a problem. But, I mean, you know, they addressed the defense, which they needed badly after losing Cook, McDuffie, Leo Chanel, Emmett Johnson, nice depth piece. I really like what they did here. I don't think it's, like, stuck to the board tier. I think it's just not happy about it, not mad about it. They had real serious draft capital after making some trades, so they're just going to go in the middle tier for me. All right, Chargers. Akeem Mesidor with their first pick. They lost Owai, so Akeem Mesidor is probably going to step in, get a ton of playing time. The only knock with this guy is that he's 25, which I get, but for a team like LA, like with Herbert, Harbaugh, this team's ready to win right now. I think Akeem Mesidor is a guy that can step in and get you 8-9 sacks immediately. He may not have the highest upside as like a Keldrick Falk or some of these guys, but for what this team wants to do, I like the pick a lot there with Akeem Mesidor. And Jake Slaughter, it's a good value here. They need interior offensive line help. He was the number one center on a lot of boards. Can't be mad about that pick. Brennan Thompson, another depth piece at receiver, which the team needs. And then Burke, again, another just depth piece. This team wants to win in the trenches, and we can see that. Guard, D-tackle, tackle, edge. So, I mean, again, I think they did what they're supposed to do. I don't think they got any crazy value anywhere. I don't think they hit it out of the park. I think they're right in the middle. All right, the Rams. The Rams, they only had a few picks, obviously. This one has so much variance. And this one, I've seen a lot of people give them an F. And with Ty Simpson, you got two options, right? Ty Simpson could either be Michael Penix, to where they draft him, he's ass, it's a waste of a pick. Or you look at Jordan Love, right? When the Packers took Jordan Love, no one saw that coming. They had Aaron Rodgers in his prime, and now that's one of the best picks in the last 5-6 years in the NFL. So I more lean to the optimistic side because I trust Sean McVay and Les Snead maybe just as much, if not more, than any head coach GM combo in the NFL. So I don't hate the pick at all here with Ty Simpson. They could have gone with a Mekhi Lemon and loaded up with Stafford with his last few legs, but this is a team that they feel they're confident to win right now with the current makeup and the current roster after getting McDuffie, and some of these other guys in free agency, and they have the best roster in the NFL. So this was kind of like a fuck you pick. We can do whatever we want here, and we like Ty Simpson. So I respect the pick. I don't hate that pick at all. And then they got Max Clare, who a lot of people has one of the best tight ends in this draft at the end of round 2, and then the rest of these guys late picks. LA though. Man, this one could go really anywhere, bro. And it's all going to depend on Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is the draft for them. I'm going to put it in the second tier. I like the Ty Simpson pick. I think it's a ballsy-ass pick. I think it's going to pan out, though. I think he's in the best possible situation with Stafford and McVay. This one, if he doesn't pan out, it's 12-year-old Madden player all day. But I trust Snead and McVay, so I like their draft a lot. All right, the Raiders. The Raiders, this is a hell of a draft. Obviously, you got Mendoza at 1. You got your franchise guy for hopefully the next 10-plus, 15-plus seasons, whatever it may be. They got Stukes. Some saw this as a reach. I don't hate the pick. Kieron Crawford, good value there. That's probably where he's supposed to go. Trey Zune right here. I like that pick a lot. I know they have Linderbaum in here, but Trey Zune maybe you could put at guard. Again, this was a good value. And this is what the trim we saw in this draft. A lot of these interior offensive linemen fell, and the Raiders did a good job snagging this guy. And then, obviously, Jermod McCoy here in the 4th round. I don't care how bad this guy's knee is. The fact you can get this kind of talent on day 3 is remarkable to me. If Jermod McCoy hits, he's going to be like a Stephon Gilmore type player. I mean, this guy had the best 2024 tape of all cornerbacks in college football. If this guy was healthy, I think he might have gone over Mansour Delane. His knee, I guess his knee's fucked. The league kind of showed us that. But what do you got to lose in the 4th round taking this guy? If he's a complete bust and doesn't pan out, so what? You lose a day 3 pick. I think for a team like the Raiders, that's the best type of flyer you could take, man. And then Mike Washington Jr. I thought Mike Washington Jr. was going to go a lot higher than this after what he did at the Combine. He had one of the best combines we've seen from running back in the last few years. And I think he's the perfect running back to spell in Ashton Jeanty and to keep Ashton Jeanty's legs fresh. This guy was dynamic at Arkansas. He could really do everything. Complete just battery ram with speed, athleticness, explosiveness. I love this Raiders draft. I think this team's super set up well for the future. They're going to go in the top tier for me. And obviously, it's highlighted by Fernando, but what they did in these later rounds, too, I think was really something special here. All right, Miami. If Miami just picked like Ruben Bain at 12, I think this would be a GOAT draft, too. I hate the Caden Proctor pick, though. This just felt like a pick that they got way too cute with it. They had Aaron Brewer, an all-pro center last year. They got Patrick Paul, who's a decent tackle, too. This team didn't need offensive line play. And they could use it, though. They could use anything, though. Miami's terrible. I don't know if I like this prospect a lot. He reminds me a lot of Evan Neal. He's super athletic. He's got a ton of talent, but his technique needs a lot of refinement. It needs a lot of work. And he just screams bust to me. He just feels like a pick to where a few years from now he's going to be maybe kicked into guard. He's going to be a backup for them. He just feels like a pick that we're going to forget about they even made a few years from now. But I think they really capitalize after that. Chris Johnson, good value here, one of the best cornerbacks in the draft. Jacob Rodriguez in the 2nd round. They might be trading Jordan Brooks from what reports have said. So if you do trade him or if you don't trade him, Jacob Rodriguez is going to slot in as a day 1 sorter right next to him. It's a great pick here. Jacob Rodriguez, maybe not the highest ceiling, super high floor, the exact type of football player I think that Jeff Hafley wants there. Caleb Douglas, a little bit of a reach. Kasmerick, again, these teams love these tight ends. Then Chris Bell here. You get Chris Bell at the very end of round 3 when you really have like nothing at the receiver spot. That's a home run pick in my mind. I know this guy's coming off a bad injury, but this guy has like slight A.J. Brown Walmart vibes. He ran a ton of his direction drags, slants last year. If this guy can bounce back from his knee injury and develop his route tree a little bit more, he might be the number 1 option in Miami next year. And then the rest of these guys, good depth pieces. I'm not going to really go too crazy in that. But I like what they did. I think Caden Proctor kind of messed things up, and that's their most important pick. I'm going to put him right in the middle. If they would have picked Ruben Bain here, I might put him at the top tier. But I do not like the Caden Proctor pick at all. He might prove me wrong. He might be an all-pro a few years from now, and that could look like an idiot. But, again, it's my own opinion. All right, Minnesota. I do not like this draft one bit. No one thought Caleb Banks was going in the top 20 after his foot problems. This guy has more talent than just as much talent as anyone in this draft. And I know he's the type of guy that Brian Flores really wants. They lost, Hargrave. They lost Allen on the defensive line this year, so they need someone to fill that role. We don't know, is this guy going to start the year in the PUP? Is he even going to play next year? We don't really know. For me, it's just too rich. It's too risky of an investment in a top 20 pick to spend on Caleb Banks. I would have really liked to see a Dylan Thiedemann go right there, who I think would have been the perfect replacement and substitute for a Harrison Smith who's gone now. Jake Alday, fine linebacker, but I would have liked C.J. Allen there. He was sitting there for him. Dominique Orange is where he was supposed to go. Tierman, good depth piece. Damon Claiborne, I don't mind that pick at all. He should be a decent, depth piece running back option for him. But man, this Caleb Banks pick, I don't like it, and I don't really like their draft altogether. We're going to put the Vikings just in the too cute with it tier, second team there. All right, the Patriots. I like Lamu at 28 a lot. This guy's super raw, but one of the most talented tackles in the entire draft. And they really kind of got him as like the last tier of tackles to go. So I think they got a super nice value there. And, maybe they're cooking Campbell into guard now. That kind of what this feels like. I know they got Moses. He's getting older, though, but that's what they needed. We saw this offense struggle. We saw this offensive line struggle at times last year. I think Vrabel and staff could develop this guy to a T. Gabe Jackass, fine pick here. This is right where he was supposed to go. Randarin, again, another tight end. I mean, I don't remember a draft where this many tight ends went in this range. It was kind of crazy. And then just depth. This was a fine draft. It was nothing too crazy. I think it's right in the middle for me. All right, Saints. Man, this Saints draft could either look great or terrible. Jordan Tyson's one of the riskiest players in the first round here. This guy was hurt in 22 and 24. He had tons of hammy issues last year, but in my mind, he's the most talented receiver in this draft. And him and Chris Olave could be a real problem. And the Saints offense could be a real problem. And one thing that I haven't heard a lot of people too that I actually like a lot about this Tyson pick is this with Tyson here now, bring in Travis Etienne, you have the good tackles in there, you have Juwan Johnson. This Saints offense now, we're going to know a year from now, we're going to know if Tyler Shuck's the guy or not, which I like that a lot. And I like the strategy here for that. Because nowadays too, man, like we see so many teams just fucking around with these quarterbacks for probably way too long. This is it's gonna show his hand. If Tyler Shuck's the guy, he's got all the weapons now. So it's put up or shut up for Tyler Shuck now, and they needed a number 2 receiver badly as well. And him and Olave could be a lot of fun. Christian Miller here, I like the pick. This was right where he's supposed to go. The Saints defense is old. They need talent on there. And then another tight end, Delp. I mean, don't love that pick, don't hate it. And then just more depth pieces here. They got Trey Lance's brother here. Shout out Trey Lance. Man, this is a fine draft. Don't love it, don't hate it. Again, it's another one that I just feel like is going to be right in the middle for us here. So, all right. The New York Giants. I love the Giants draft, man. I do not think John Harbaugh and Schoen thought that Arvell Reese was going to be there at 5, and I honestly thought that they were going to zig and take Jordan Tyson. I've seen a lot of people be mad about this pick because, they already have a nice front 7. They got a lot of linebackers. I don't really care. I think in this spot, Arvell Reese has a legit shot to be the best player in this draft if he does hit. He had the best pass rush win rate in all of college football last year. And I'm confident if anyone's going to get use of him, John Harbaugh is going to figure out how to use this guy to a T. I think that was absolutely the right pick there. And I think he has the chance to be a generational Giant and a generational player in this league. Francis Maui-Noah at 10. We've seen the Giants draft a lot of offensive linemen in recent years, and a lot of them bust, but Francis should be a safe pick. Right now, he might be playing guard initially. And you know what? If he stays at guard, they have Elu Manor, they have Andrew Thomas at tackles. So if he stays at guard, I don't even care. If Maui-Noah stays at guard, he's probably going to be a Pro Bowl level guard. So whether Elu Manor, they re-signed it, whether he's gone in a year or two, and then you put Maui-Noah at tackle, then I don't mind it either way. Colton Hood, this team needs cornerback help. Greg Newsome can't hold it down by himself. It's a good value there. This guy could have easily gone around one of the best cornerbacks in this entire draft. And then Malachi Fields, I think they got a really good value here, especially after we saw that crazy run on receivers go. And this team needed another receiver with Wandell out now. I really like this Giants draft. I think their top 4 picks, they really murdered it. Do they belong in the GOAT tier? I don't know if they do. I'll put them in the second tier. We'll put them in the second tier. All right, New York Jets. David Bailey, obviously their top pick here. A lot of people were mad about this pick. And it's kind of just like a don't mess this up pick, but I trust Moogie. I think Moogie's done a really fine job since he stepped in office here for this team. And I like the pick. David Bailey's the best pass rusher in this draft. I don't even think there's a question about it. A lot of people are concerned about his run defense. I think this guy's so good of an athlete and has such good fundamentals to where he's going to figure out how to be at least an adequate run defender while also being a guy that could push for 13, 14, 15 sacks in a season. And obviously, after trading Quinn and Sauce last year, this team needs some defensive line help. I think that's a fine pick there. I probably would have gone with Reese and take a swing on the upside, but I'm not mad about the pick at all. And then Kenyon Sadiq at 16. I don't really love this pick a whole lot. Mason Taylor was fine last year, but like I said, we're seeing the league just invest more and more assets in these tight ends. This guy, though, didn't have a lot of production at Oregon. I know that team was running the ball a whole lot, though. But it's just first-round tight ends bust all the time. It's hard for me to love that pick. That's where he was supposed to go. I don't love that pick. I don't hate it. Then Omar Cooper at 30. I like this pick a lot. Omar Cooper, watch the tape. He literally looks like Deebo Samuel, and I think he's a perfect complement to Garrett Wilson. And then D'Angelo Pons in round 2. Smaller cornerback, but really good ball skills, really good athlete. I think that's a fine pick and a really good value right there as well. And then why not take the flyer on Klubnik there in the 4th round? Again, he was a guy going into last season, we thought he was going to be like a top 10, top 5 pick. So I really like what the Jets did here. I trust Moogie. I don't think it's in the GOAT tier, but I think they stuck to their board. They took their guys, and they got really good value, and they got some really high-end talent. So it's 2nd tier for me. All right, Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Makai Lemon at pick 20 is, I think, one of the best values in this draft. Obviously, I think this is showing that post-June 1, they're going to trade A.J. Brown. And I think with the fact that Tate went 4, Tyson went at 8, I think with those two going there, then you get Lemon at 20 is a really good value. A lot of people had these guys all bunched in as like the 1A, 1B, 1C. So I think Philly got great value with Makai Lemon there at pick 20. And then Eli Stowers in round 2 as well. This guy is more of like kind of your just straight up receiving tight end, but if he's going to work, I think he's going to be awesome in Philly. And really just like if they're trading A.J. Brown, which they're going to do, they added some like legit studs to help replace him and to really get this offense moving and going forward again. And I'm fully confident that this offense is going to look really good next year, even if they do trade A.J. Brown. And then the rest of these, Markel Brown, might have been a slight reach, but they need the depth there. Lane Johnson's getting older. He could slot in and be a nice swing tackle for him. And then the rest of these, Cole Payton, Michael Morris, depth guys. Philly, I think, stuck to the board. Howie Roseman, I don't think I could ever give Howie Roseman lower than the 2nd tier. I mean, he's the best GM in all football in my mind. He does not miss with his picks. All right, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, man, Philly fleeced. Well, actually, Dallas gave intel to Philly that Pittsburgh was going to go with Lemon, and then they didn't get Lemon. They got Max. But, I mean, Max is fine. I don't know if Max is going to start immediately. Broderick Jones is coming off an injury. They also got Fatanu, the kid they drafted in the 1st round a year or 2 ago. So, I mean, but this team needs offensive line help. Jeremy Bernard, they kind of get like their knockoff Makai Lemon here, so I don't mind that pick at all. And then take the swing on Drew Aller. Why the hell not? Aaron Rodgers, I think, is coming back. If not, though, maybe throw out Allard. I think he's got more upside than Will Howard, obviously. Drew Allard's a guy, again, kind of like Klubnik, that we were talking about as potentially a top 5, top 10 quarterback. Obviously, his last year at Penn State was not very good. Take the swing on it. You're Pittsburgh, and they're going to be drafting top 10 anyways. This team's always way too competitive. Jennings Dunker, I think it's a really good value there. This guy was supposed to go in the 2nd round in a ton of mock drafts. I like what Pittsburgh did. I don't love it. Don't hate it. Again, it's going to go in the not happy, not mad tier for me. All right, Seattle. This was Jadarian Price at 32 was just like a fuck you pick. The team's so loaded. I know they lost some dogs in the free agency, but like Kenneth Walker's gone, Charbonnet's hurt, and this was just Schneider being like, fuck it. We'll just take the 2nd best running back at 32, pick up that 5th-year option if he is a stud for us. And I think Jadarian Price will be really good for them. When you watch the tape on this guy, he reminds me of a prime Dallas Cowboys Tony Pollard. He's not like an A plus in any regard, but he's like a B plus A minus in a lot of regards. He's a really good pure runner of the football. He's a really good receiving back. He can get really skinny. He's got a really good first step. He's really good change of direction. I think he's going to be a really good fit in this run heavy zone scheme for Seattle. And he's probably going to get a ton of work in year 1. Probably be a fun fantasy player. And then Bud Clark, Julian Neal. This team lost Kobe Durant. They lost Reek Wool, and I think these are both fine picks. This was where they were supposed to both go. And then they got depth pieces here in the later round. So I think for Seattle, I don't think they murdered it. I think it's just right in the middle tier for me. All right, San Fran. A lot of people are not liking San Francisco's draft. They got Deshaun Stribling with the 1st pick in the 2nd round. This guy was not supposed to go anywhere near this pick. And I think John Lynch got too cute with this pick, man. And they've been investing so many assets in the receiver spot in recent years, and they keep missing and missing again. So it's like, shit, if Stribling doesn't hit, it's like, John Lynch, you got to stop drafting receivers early, man. But Romello Height, I like this pick a lot here. Really good value here. I mean, he was a monster with Texas Tech last year. Kalen Black, this might have been a little early for him, but I mean, you watch this guy who's a battering ram. out there in Indiana last year. Don't hate that pick. But overall, man, I don't really like this draft a lot. I think that John Lynch got too cute with it. And John Lynch's last few drafts have not been very good. And this is kind of like becoming a reoccurring theme for John Lynch in his drafts. And I think he's got to take more of a Roseman Schneider book and just go BPA, and he's not doing that. So I think it's just a got too cute with it type of draft for me. All right, Tampa Bay. They got one of the best values here, Ruben Bain at 15. Fills a position of need. He's got the short arms, and when you look at guys with his short of arms, they don't even really exist in the NFL, so it's very fair to wonder if he's going to be good. I think he might be better off inside than outside. But regardless, he's going to be a good football player. I think he's got a super high floor. I don't know how high his ceiling is, though. I like that pick a lot at 15, though. Josiah Trotter, this was kind of where he was going to go, a little bit of a reach. I would have liked C.J. Allen again here. Ted Hurst, he was fine. They're investing more in the receiver position. Keontae Scott, really good value here. They got him overall grade 48. They got him in the middle of the fourth. This guy fills a position of need. Again, this was another guy I saw going round 2, round 3 in a lot of mocks. Tampa Bay, I like their draft. I really do. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm going to put it in stuck to the board tier. I think the Ruben Bain and Keontae Scott picks for me put them in tier 2. All right, last 2. We got Tennessee. I do not like the Carnell Tate pick at 4. I get it. This team needed a wide receiver badly, but in my mind, Carnell Tate is not going to be a guy that's ever going to be a top 5 receiver in this league. And if you're drafting receiver at 4, I got to at least, in my mind, have the chance to say, okay, this guy could potentially be an all-pro, a centerpiece, a guy we build our offense completely around. And I just don't see it with Carnell Tate. But again, he fills a position in need. I just think it was a slight reach. I would have rather them like to take an Arvell Reese, and that Reese with Bob Saul would be a lot of fun. Or trade the pick down and go get Lemon, or go get Tyson a little bit later, or go get a Omar Cooper. And then Keldrick Falk at 31. Keldrick Falk had 2 sacks last year, super raw prospect. He's a really good run defender, and really they're just betting that he develops as a pass rusher. And if he is going to develop as a pass rusher, it's probably with Bob Saleh. So I don't hate the pick. It's a pretty good value there at 31. A lot of people had this guy going in the first half of round 1. Don't love the player a lot, though, but it's a pretty good value in my mind. And Anthony Hill right here, athletic linebacker out of Texas. I like this pick. I think it's a really good value. And then Carmona here as well is a good depth piece. And then Nick Singleton out of Penn State, I think, is another good depth piece for him. Singleton, super athletic, super explosive running back. The guy can't see the field, though. He's got terrible vision. But, he can maybe develop that. Overall, all in all, they did some good things. They did some bad things in my mind. I think they go right in the middle tier for me. All right, our last team here, guys. If you like this type of content, if you agree with any of these takes, don't agree, please comment below. I really appreciate it and love the support. All right, Sonny Styles at 7. I think this was the pick here. I'm glad they went with Sonny over Jordan Tyson. Dan Quinn is going to get everything he can out of this guy. I think this guy's going to be the centerpiece of this defense for years to come. Antonio Williams, round 3. This was about where he was supposed to go. They need more receiver help. Can't be mad at that pick. Joshua Josephs, this guy, to get this guy in round 5, I think was really good value. This guy's a crazy good athlete at the edge spot. Didn't have the best production, but for the upside Joshua Josephs possesses, again, round 5, I think is a really good value. And then Katron Allen, again, decent value. A lot of these teams, I think, got really good value out of some of these running backs because it was such a bad running back class. So a lot of these guys got pushed further and further down boards. And I like what they did. They didn't have a lot of picks to work with. Don't love it, don't hate it. I think it just belongs right in the middle for me, to be honest, guys. But, yeah, here's the tiers, guys. If you like this content, again, please comment, like, subscribe. Again, I'm not an expert, and I'm very curious to see a year from now how my grades stack up to, first-year grades and, post the season for all these guys. But, again, guys, thank you. Peace out.